Hey visionaries, Chris right here with Royal Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process, but we are here to help you throughout the way. Feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms at Royal Realty Group TX. Now enjoy the show with Cuff and Mo.
We got on that subject because you corrected yourself when you were about to use the word try.
Yes, sir.
And so I said it sounds to me like we're on the same wavelength. I said, because I had a conversation with a couple of people in my group. They used the word tried. I told them everything you ever tried to do in life, you failed at. And they were like, what do you mean? I said, well, you can't try to get somebody pregnant. Either you get them pregnant or they're not pregnant. But if your intent was to get that person pregnant on the first attempt, then you failed. If you continue to do what you're doing and that person becomes pregnant, you've completed the task, but your initial attempt, you failed at. Now, if you attempt, you stop, that's when the word failure comes into play for me. So I believe that to fail, and then we use golf as an analogy. I said that your initial attempt from the tee is to hit the ball onto the green. If you hit the ball into the rough, you failed your initial attempt because your intent was not to go in the rough. Your intent was to go on the green. Now you may hit the ball 5 more times and get the ball into the cup. If you stop at that point, you are a failure. If you stopped at your first attempt, that's when the word failure comes into play for me. And so, some people don't agree with my mindset, my thought process, but my thought process is simply this. Whatever your intent was at the onset of whatever you're doing, if it was to dunk a basketball on your first attempt, if it was to hit the ball in the green, your first attempt, if it was to make $1 million on your first investment, if you did not do it, you failed. You tried to do it, you failed. You only become a failure in my book if that's when you stop.
No, and I love it, right? Because Mo and I, we've been doing this for 4 years or whatever it's been, and we've learned a lot. I personally have grown a lot. I kind of mentioned that to you at the very beginning, right? Like you kind of go into life picking up certain things, and one of the things that I've learned, especially from Mo, I'm going to give my partner a shout out, is that we don't fail. We either learn or we succeed, right? And you added a new component, which I respect. I really, really respect it. And so, Mo, I'm interested in your take on this word failure, because we've had this conversation numerous times about that word specifically.
Man, this is a great way to start it off. I'm definitely along the same mindset, right? Like I believe in what I tell you at the very beginning, like when we first got this show on the road, like we either win or we learn. There's no such thing as failure. We just learn what it is that needs to get done, right? So I don't necessarily, really subscribe to the quote unquote to the word failure. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we've all had some valleys in our lives, right? But like Rack said, failure isn't quitting. Failure isn't just throwing up your hands and just being like, I give up, I can't do this. That's what I would identify as failure. But I mean, my philosophy, Cuff, like the sun rises the next day. So get back up and keep swinging it at whatever it is you're trying to get done.
I completely agree. And you talk about learning, from the first moment I met you, I still have environment, exposure, experience, expectation, execution on my phone. I learned that from the first moment I met you, brothers.
Hey, it's the truth, man. And shout out to Jay Scott, one of the very first people we had on the show. But that is the absolute truth. This environment exposure, experience, expectations. I think you said execution as well. Is that
Yep.
right, Rack?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's an indicator of a lot of things, and what I got going on, like in my business life right now too. It's very pertinent, if you will. Like it adds up. And the cool part about it is, we're talking about failure and ups and downs and whatnot. The cool part about it is you don't even have to have all of them lined up, symmetrically, right? But if you're willing to put in the work to improve one of those E's in your life, the best part is that you can put some work in and it's still going to be all right. Like, you'll get to where it is you're trying to go. It's really just a matter of, are you willing to put that sweat equity in order to really make it shake?
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, man. I don't. It's funny, like, before we got on, like, I said I was vibrating at a certain level. Like, Cuff got to sit in on one of my work calls a couple weeks ago after recording, and he just looked at me and was like, "Dude," he's like, "You are vibrating at a completely different level than I've ever seen you vibrate at, right?" And I've really found my niche as far as the business world is concerned, and I've seen a lot of ups and downs, like, those who listen to the show, whatever, like, just on a personal level, like, I've been through a lot of stuff the past, like, 3.5, 4 years, right? Like, I've lost people, like, I've really, like, dealt with some stuff. And through it all, like, I've really learned, like, the sun rises the next day. And if you can get up and you're still breathing the next day, like, you can make it happen. So yeah, failures, I don't really quote unquote subscribe to it. It's just more like it's a lesson. And like, and the most important thing I think we can all agree is, like, what do you do in the aftermath? It's really about, what happens to you. It's about, what do you do after whatever, said happens to you? Like, what's your reaction to it?
And that's it. Let's get it in. The Vision Lab podcast with Cuff and Mo. And so we are super honored to have Will and Rack from Smoking Aristocrats West Coast in the lab. And we're just going to chop it up for a little bit and really trying to, talk a little bit more about Smoking Aristocrats West Coast and who they are and how they kind of came to be and some of the really, really cool things that they got coming down the pipeline. Fellas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to before we get started, I would be remiss if we did not give a big shout out to Cigar Rockstar, who really kind of helped, put this together. We were on his show a couple of weeks ago and met you two fine gentlemen. Really liked, your mindset and the way that you guys, the language that you used, right? And in that conversation that we had during his podcast. And so we just felt it incumbent to get you guys on the show. I think it makes a lot of sense. We got a lot of love for our West Coast tribe out there. And so thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
So, Will, talk to us. Who is Smoking Aristocrats West Coast and how did it get started?
So we got started, I would go to Dallas and I smoked with the president of Smoking Aristocrats. So eventually, he asked me, he said, "Man, why don't you start out on the West Coast, man? Let's grow this thing." So I was kind of hesitant for a little while. And then finally, I said, man, I do enjoy the vibe when I'm down there with those cats. So, man, I'm going to do it out here. So, man, I contacted Rack. I say, "Man, let's get this thing popping, man." And so we put it together. So we've been in full motion since March. So we've been growing. Right now we're at like 22 members. Do a little bit of events here and there. We our main thing is being grown, responsible, and doing what you enjoy. We do this for the culture of cigars. So we support people that's doing events, cigar events, anything around cigars and whiskey. We'll try to support. We go as a group, hang out. So we want to further on down the pipeline. There's some other things that I have in my mind that I want to present to the group, as far as like maybe doing some toy drives or, around Thanksgiving, Christmas, putting that kind of stuff together and, just grow it from that point.
And I love that, brother. And I love the fact that, first of all, you came to the home city, right? The Triple D. And so I don't know how frequent you come down here, but, you always are more than welcome to come down and kick it with us. But those brothers over and sisters too at Smoking Aristocrats in Dallas. You know, got to give big ups to them. Respect that group. They move about things the right way. You never really hear anything negative. So I'm grateful that, you know, you guys have taken that on out in the West Coast as well. And so, Rat, you know, since you guys have been doing this, what's been the vibe? What's been the feeling out in Cali?
To be very honest with you, the goal is to transfer that vibe that Will received and felt when he went down and smoked with those guys in Cali. I had a very, very short experience when I met those same guys up at the Big Smoke, Cigar Week in Las Vegas 2 years ago when I met them. So I got that vibe from those guys. Will got a stronger sense of it when he actually went to Dallas. Here in California, the hurdle is California is a place where they do not want you to smoke. So having a cigar lounge per se is not taboo, but you don't see one on every block like you see a liquor store or like you see cigar lounges in Atlanta or Dallas, Houston.
Yeah, that's one of our challenges. You know, in Dallas, they each week they do Whiskey Wednesday, so they move around to different cigar lounges. Our demographic with cigar lounges is a little different up here,
Right.
And you know, like Rack lives about 45 minutes away from me, so we have people all in the Bay Area. I'm in Sacramento, so we have people all in the Bay Area. You know, we have people in Central California that's part of our group. So we don't get to do the every week thing like they do in Dallas, but we're trying to implement it right now. So we'll have our first Thirsty Thursdays here this upcoming Thursday. We were going to do it last week, but we had a crazy heat wave come through. So it's smoking out on the patio at a nice little restaurant. So
now hold on real quick. Because you know, you're talking to two Texas boys. You say you had a crazy heat wave, and I saw it, and I've heard about it in the news. I want to know what y'all's crazy heat wave. 91,
What
92?
constitutes as hot?
116.
Like this. It was hotter here on one day. I think it was the Saturday. Than it was in Arizona.
Okay.
So we had 116, which is unheard of. I was outside. Yeah, I was outside at about 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was 92 degrees. So in California, you know, we don't just worry about the heat. You know, that's earthquake weather. So I was waiting on me personally. I didn't want to put it out there in the air, but I was waiting on the earthquake. When you have that kind of heat over that many consecutive days, usually we get a nice little earthquake.
That's crazy. I mean, we see 90. Mo, you can attest. I mean, anybody that's from Dallas or Texas, you know, especially North Texas, can attest. 92 at nighttime in the summer is pretty regular.
Yeah, we call that breezy.
That's a cold front.
Think about this.
You guys have humidity with you guys. You know, I was there.
Not in North Texas. Not in North Texas. Houston, South Texas, yes.
I was in Dallas in August 2 years ago, and man, that was some miserable heat right there. Miserable.
We have a lot of lakes here, right? So we've got some humidity, but Cuff's right. Like when you go to Houston or like South Texas, it's like being in a different country.
So anytime it's 92 degrees, 93 degrees in San Francisco, that's when you know it's hot. San Francisco does not get that hot because it's a peninsula. It's surrounded by three sides of water.
Yep.
You know, and San Francisco is not that big. You got more water than land. And so my mom, I had to go down to take a fan to my mother because, you know, in San Francisco, people don't realize or think about this, no houses have air conditioning. Because very, very, very few houses, most of the houses in San Francisco are old, maybe the newer ones, but most of the older houses, there's no reason to have air conditioning because it never gets warm enough for you to use it. So you know.
Yeah, so like I'm 90 miles away from San Francisco. So it can be 104 here in Sacramento and go to San Francisco and it's like 68.
Right.
Wow.
So when you start looking at that change, just in that little bit of mileage, you know, then you're like, wow. So when San Francisco gets to damn near 100, you know it's hot.
Yeah.
Damn. Never knew. You know,
you got to come out here and kick it with us, Cuff.
I'm coming. Believe it. I've been to San Francisco. My mom and my wife did a marathon for what is it? Leukemia Lymphoma Society. It was the Nike I think it was a Nike women's race, but it just may have been a Nike race. But they did that. So we've been to San Fran, obviously been to LA. I haven't been to Sacktown, and so I definitely want to get up there. I hear it's pretty dope up there. So for sure.
It ain't nothing like Dallas. Ain't nothing like Dallas. It ain't
I'm
nothing
gonna
like
I'm gonna tell you, I
eat
envy you,
before
brothers.
9 o'clock, girls. You ain't gonna find nothing.
What's
I
that?
envy you, brothers.
Eat
Go
before
ahead,
9
Will.
o'clock.
I envy you, brothers, because this is a little personal disclosure here. I played ball. I went to college in New Orleans. I went to Tulane University, and the girlfriend that I was dating was actually from Dallas. So my first time going to Dallas was going home with her for Christmas, and then a couple times in the summer. All my exes live in Texas now.
Hey.
I'm talking about, bro. I really enjoy Dallas and Houston and Atlanta. I really enjoyed those places where we came together and we did the things that I like to do with no issues, no drama. Because to me out here, I hate to say it, we're so suppressed and so segregated that in other places, this group right here, we'll go find our niche, and we at our niche and we just chilling because our niche has been there for however long it's been there. And then that other group, they also have a place to go. The difference in California is that they try to pigeonhole everybody into one spot. And so everybody is in there, and then the people who just want to chill get affected by the people who want to come and turn up, per se, and it becomes sometimes a conflict in the middle. And so when I was in Dallas and Houston and New Orleans, I just got so accustomed to just seeing us doing our thing with no issues, and I got back here. I'm a San Francisco boy, born and raised in the city, from Filmo. If you go to San Francisco, say Rack, everybody know who you're talking about. And I moved away from there because it was just I moved to Sacramento because it was just not what I was looking for at that stage of my life.
Hey everyone, Edwina Brown here, owner operator of Blow and Smoke Cigar Lounge. We're located at 1604 North Interstate 35E in Lancaster, Texas. We would love for you to come see us. We stand on the 3 C's, which are cigars, our community, and our culture. Cigars, we have over 300 SKUs in our humidor, and it's still growing. Come check it out, a massive humidor. We also love our culture here, which we're about customer service, as well as community, which is why we're excited to partner with the TheVisionLab podcast. So come check us out.
Well, I want to spin it back over to Smoking Aristocrats West Coast.
Yes, sir.
One of the things we kind of talked about offline that I want to give you brothers the opportunity to disclose is how to become a member for anyone that's watching, right? And they want to get down with Smoking Aristocrats West Coast. How does that happen?
Well, one, if people see us, we want it to the point where they see how we move, what we do, and just come up and ask us, hey, how can we be a part? Some other guys, like, I've met people, Rack has met people, and we invite them, hey, come, we'll be smoking over here. I not tell them all about what it's about, but then when they see the crew, they see the people that come together, how they get down, how they act, how they spend their money at the cigar lounges, how it's like a family affair. We let them make that decision. We let them come and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. What do I need to do? And then we give them the spiel, what we expect and our expectations and the stuff like that.
Now, are there membership fees?
Nope, there's no fees. I mean, if you want a shirt, you pay for your shirt, we'll get it done. Hats, sweatshirts, whatever, we'll get it done, but you're gonna pay for it, So that's about the only fee, We do have our challenge coins. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold on.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we have challenge coins, and it's pretty cool because if you come around a group, like if I go to a lounge and I see one of the members in there, and I'll be like, hey, you got your coin? And they'd be like, oh man, it's happened to Rack before. Buy a cigar or a drink or something, So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool little vibe. We make it nice. We got some things in store for our first Thursday. We're gonna do some things. We're gonna raffle off some stuff. So it's gonna make it fun for the whole crew. And those who not in our crew that happen to show up, they'll get to see that also in motion.
I mean, we went to a lounge in Danville, California, nice little cigar lounge and bar, and myself and Will at that time were the only two aristocrats there. And by the time this is the honest to God truth, brother, there were maybe, and if you I don't know if you know anything about Danville, it's a few specks of pepper and a bowl of salt. It's not a lot of people in Danville. So when we show up, I gone there maybe, a couple times by myself and with my lady friend. But when we said we're going to meet a group of our guys there, people that we knew who were, like I said, were not aristocrats, just the guys who invited us to come smoke with them. By the time we finished, it started out with maybe 4 of us. By the time we finished, there was probably 9 or 10 people at our table smoking with us. Then a group of other races came over, wanted to know who we are. Hey man, we like you, what you got going on, we like what y'all got going on. By the time we left that place, we had about 5 bottles of wine, about 3 bottles of champagne that people had sent over to our table. Hey man, I like what y'all do. A brother came up to us and said, man, I've never seen this before. I just want to know who you guys are, what you guys are about, how I can be a part of it. And that's what we want. And that's what we want. That's what we want. Just by the way we move, by the way we do our thing, by the way we conduct ourselves in public. And like I told Will from day one, the people that we bring in, they're not only representing the West Coast, they're a representation of the Smoking Aristocrats in Dallas as well. So you can't have, because the Smoking Aristocrats in Dallas, they move a lot more than we do at this present time. So if we go to say Las Vegas or somewhere around here, we got on our shirts and we get into a bar fight. Well, when the Smoking Aristocrats come from any place else, hey man, nah man, they was out here fighting the other day. So I'm the boisterous one. I'm the one to be like, hey man, no, we're not doing that. Cut that out, or because we are representing more than just one ourselves. And here on the West Coast, we represent who we are as men, who we would like to attract, and our brothers and sisters on the West Coast. In Dallas.
Yeah, like we step into like Napa Cigars. So Napa's pretty big on wine. They have a nice little cigar lounge out there too. When we come there, man, the owner's like, Will, I love when you guys come, man. We spend money, they love it for us, man. I mean, hey, I think last time we went there, man, I think we damn near bought out all the Drew Estate stuff, man. Just us.
I wish somebody would have caught me early.
Yeah, it was a few of them that had like big shopping bags full of stuff.
That's what's up. Got to support, our local lounge owners,
right.
For sure.
And what was the brother name, Will? It was a brother, actually. His name was Ernie?
Ernie Watts.
Right. He was a brother who was the Drew Estate representative. So I felt it also important to show him some love and be like, hey man, they Drew Estate sent the brother out here. We are we're a colorful group, but we need to show him some love as well.
So, I love the fact, and this kind of goes into my next question, right? 22 members and growing. You guys are vibing out, going to different lounges, but it's different in California than it is in Dallas, right? Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about what a lounge takeover is.
So, normally you'll have a lounge that we'll go to or something. Let's just say on a normal day, they have like 6 people in there smoking. We step off in there with 15, 20 people, all matching shirts on and everything. We turn the heads and we in there spending money, so that lounge is like, damn, we weren't expecting to make this much money today. We weren't expecting to be packed out on a Wednesday night or Thursday night or something like that, with this many people. And we show up, and it's like, we get along with everybody. Like, we're grown folks, and we try to make our presence be known.
And you know what I love about what y'all doing? You're not doing it to promote Smoking Aristocrats West Coast. You're doing it to support the local business owners. You're sprinting, and the culture, and move the culture forward. Like, we talk to a lot of people, and we've been very blessed. A lot of people have the same rhetoric, right? but the follow through and the ability to support. I want to give a shout out to y'all for that.
Let me show you what the back of the coin says. I don't know if y'all can read it.
We do it for the culture.
Yeah.
We did we don't like to say takeover. We did a takeover in with Backdrop. We went to Las Vegas Cigar Week and we met some people out there. And one of the guys that we met was a guy by the name of Chris from Casa de Sereno Cigars and LG Cigars in San Jose. We got to become friends with him and contacted him, and he was like invited. We'll organize it, and we went down to his lounge, and they laid it out for us, man. They gave us cigars. They did a cigar and rum tasting pairing, yeah. But more importantly, they educated us on the leaf, how to locate the different flavors in the cigar combined with the rum, how to properly taste a cigar. It was more than just going there to smoke. Our friendship and allowed us to learn a lot. And then they invited us to go with them in February to Dominican Republic, and that's not Drew Estate event, is it?
Oh, that's a Dominican Republican cigar week. I forgot the name of it.
So that's the goal. That's my goal is to be there in February. And then we go ahead, Will.
Just to piggyback on that trip. So that's one of the things that shout out to Keith Solomon. That's the founder of the Smoking Aristocrats in Dallas. So one of our goals is for both groups right now to come together and plan a trip to where we can go do that whole cigar week with the people from West Coast, also the people from Texas, and it'll be one big party. So that's part of what we really, when we talked about it, what we really want to do is we want to hopefully get to some events together, whether we go to Dallas for some events out there, or they come out this way, or we meet in Vegas for an event, wherever, Arizona. So we get together and it's going to be one big group. That's why we all have the same shirts with the same logos and everything on there. So when we come together, it's just one big family.
We went to the Newport Beach Cigar and Spirits Festival. My first time really going there before. They had told me for 3 years, you got to go. I finally broke down and went. I will never miss it again. But what I liked about it, man, we got there. Our group showed up at the end of the night, right? Where we set our table up to smoke our cigars and drink our drinks. The majority of the vendors who were there came over to hang out with us. The person who put the event on came out to hang out with us. The actor by the name of Eric Martinez came to hang with us. Peter James, who is, if you know anything about cigar lounges, furniture and accessories, Peter James is like the Bentley of that particular niche. He came and to hang out with us and ended up giving us gifts. Just by the way we didn't ask them, we didn't solicit them. Just by the way we were just handling ourselves and having a great time. We met so many people. And Eric Martinez, now he's an actor. He literally reaches out to us. Hey man, what y'all doing, brother? How y'all doing? Well, how my brothers in California doing? And it makes me feel good because like I said, he didn't have to do that. Like I said, this brother's in movies. He don't have to be that person. But I think because we were genuine with him and offering him cigars and smoking and passing cigars, and I'm making old fashions and passing around old fashions. Everybody wanted to know who the Smoking Aristocrats were, and everybody wanted to find out how they could become one that particular night.
Let me tell you how lit this was, man. So the event is from 5 to 9. I was telling people, hey, we'll be at the fire pit afterwards. Just come on over and kick it. Dude, we had the fire pit lit all night, man. We left there about 2 o'clock in the morning. We had about 70 people over there, man, just partying with us, man. I mean, like I said, most of the vendors came over. Ryan Rayford, I know you guys probably know who he is. He was there with us.
Yeah, we get down with Rayford real tough.
Yeah, so Ryan was there because he was the Drew Estate rep that came. yeah, you know, so he came over, hung out with us until he had to go catch his flight and stuff, get some sleep before he catch his flight. But yeah, man, we had it lit, man, and you know, so many people, you know, kept in contact with us from that day on.
Right.
But yeah, we kept that party going until like 2 a.m, man, at the fire pit.
Later than that, because remember, some people had to leave at 6, and they literally went in, took a shower, and left.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. We had Lincoln Salazar that was over there. He's the chief editor of Cigar and Spirits, the magazine. So he came over, hung out with us. We had Michael, I can't say his last name, he's Italian. He's actually from Italy, that has his own, I don't know if you guys heard of Toscano cigars.
No.
I have.
Yes, they came over, hung out with us. We had some more people, some more vendors. I can't even remember all the names, but the event is really nice, man. It's a one-day event. I've been going. We've been 3 or 4 times, me and my wife. But man, we've met 50 Cent there, Oscar De La Hoya, Mario Lopez.
Actually, that's Oscar De La Hoya is the owner of the magazine. What's his name? Lincoln. He's I guess the CEO and chief editor. But I found that Oscar De La Hoya is actually his magazine.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, before we close things out, you mentioned Thirsty Thursdays earlier, fellas. Like, I want to hear more about that.
So it's just going to be a spot that we're going to get together in Sacramento. And since we have people from the Bay Area, which is like 90 something miles away, during the week it'd be hard for them to get there. So we're going to do probably 1 or 2 weeks on 2 Thursdays of a month at this restaurant. And then we'll be doing some events, like not events, but get-togethers, probably in the Bay Area on the weekends or midway, like in Rex area. So there's some midpoint spots so everyone can just meet up and smoke. We don't expect everyone to make everything. We just expect you to just make an effort to make some stuff, you know. Just be present when you can. You know, like I said, there's no fees. There's no, you know, do this or do that. You know, it's just want people to be a part. Somebody where they can go and just call up, whether we having something in Rack's backyard, barbecuing in my backyard, you know, we'll host, just different stuff like that. So it's just to get together and just hang out, you know.
And for the owner, for this to happen at this particular spot, his name is Ming. It's at a sushi and sports bar called Oshima's. And the owner's name is Ming. And Ming is, you know, he's very, very cool, but he's very, very protective of his property and his brand. So he after you know, during the COVID thing, you know, he had to shut everything down in regards to the smoking, because we would smoke there before individually, but not as a group. We were not even aristocrats at that time. And so when we brought this to him as a, you know, a place where we can meet, he was all for it. And then, you know, Will created the flyer, put his restaurant up on the flyer along with our brand and everything, and he was all for it. But for him to allow this is actually huge, because an establishment is actually connecting its brand to the Smoking Aristocrats, which in California, as far as smoking, you can't even smoke. You have to be 90 feet away from a building to smoke. We're going to be smoking on the patio at an established restaurant. So they had to close the patio, you know, because they can keep the restaurant open during COVID, but they used the patio because everyone had to eat outside. So they stopped the smoking and everything. So they got TVs, fire pits out there. So that's where we go. That's actually where I met Rec like 5 years ago, man. We were just out there. Yeah. A group of guys, we always just meet up there and just smoke. So I met Rec there. I met a ton of people there, man, that we didn't even know, you know. So
there are a few hard truths to whiskey that most brands don't like to admit. First, there's a lot of it. And second, despite its lore and romance, whiskey is often complex and intimidating. Is that high or low proof? Toasted or charred? Aged or finished? Straight or blended? Imported or American? Endless options, endless questions, endless confusion. But there is a whiskey out there that makes selecting it simple. An exceptional spirit made with local ingredients and committed to its communities. That's us. That's Sagamore Spirit. Sagamore Spirit has been and always will be more than just whiskey. Our work, your work, is greater than the sum of its parts. Keep the momentum moving. And one more thing, it's whiskey. Have fun with it.
That's what's up, fellas. We would be remiss if before we landed the plane, I think we need to let the people know how they can get a hold of Smoking Aristocrats West Coast. Like, drop your social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Facebook is Smoking_Aristocrats, and it's the same thing on Instagram. So we post pictures. Both groups are the same one. So they, everyone from West Coast and Dallas post in the same group. So, we post stuff, what we're doing, where we at, who's part of it. So go on to Facebook, answer the few questions on there, and we'll let you in, and you can see how things are. You see where we'll be next. Just come hang out, see what you like. And like I say, ask that question, how do I become a part?
That's it. That's it. So visionaries, whether you are in Dallas, New York, or in the West, on the West Coast, make sure you hit these brothers up, figure out if you guys want to be a part of them. Smoking Aristocrats West Coast. These are some good dudes, man. Rack, I know you have an event that you wanted to talk about, so I want to give you the floor to quickly kind of talk about what your event is.
Thank you. And I'll do it real quickly. Here in the United States, we have this huge problem with the way in which we treat our seniors. It's and health and wellness, mental illness, health and wellness. We in the Black community, it's taboo to talk about. In other communities, the elderly and the seniors are revered and they are taken care of. They're not put in homes. They're not put in places to grow old and die. And they're not subjected to loneliness. So what we're doing is we're doing an event on October 29th at Antioch County Fairgrounds to help senior citizens combat loneliness. We're going to bring the entire family out, and this event is going to be catered towards senior citizens and the cure loneliness. We're going to partner with a company that makes a device called LEQ, ELLI-Q. It's basically a companion for seniors. Whereas Alexa, you talk to Alexa for it to do something, LEQ is a companion. It will basically say, hey, Rack, don't forget you have a doctor's appointment. Hey, Rack, don't forget to take your medication. It helps seniors in that way, and it helps to combat loneliness. So what we're trying to do is we have 3 major acts and 5 local bands are going to perform. We're going to have a car show and a trunk or treat where kids can go around and trick or treat from the trunks of classic cars. We're going to have a kid zone where the kids can go in, and we're going to have a haunted house, a corn maze. Basically, it's something to bring the family out. My personal view, when our community was at its strongest, Pawpaw and Grandma was the head of the families.
That's
now
right.
Pawpaw and Grandma are 37 years old.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
I want those patriarchs and matriarchs to come back out, and I want to honor them, and I want to show other communities that we too can, honor our senior citizens and our elderly in our communities. So this event is a Kickstarter. This is going to be an annual event, and this is going to be the Kickstarter of multiple events that we're going to do to assist our communities, and with the goal of eventually opening up a cigar lounge. So, you can go online. I think I sent you the flyers and the link. Go online. If you can't make it out to the West Coast on October 29th, there is a place for donations. You can donate, you can send candy, you can do whatever you want to help us, and know that it's going towards a very, very good and worthy cause.
Hey, Rack, talk about the artists that you're going to have there.
We're going to, headliner is Sunshine Anderson. We're going to have Sunshine Anderson, Dana Dane, and Candyman. Then we're going to have some local groups called A Touch of Class, Chandra G, Rob Best, several local groups. And so what we wanted to do, we're going to have a Motown review band. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to have the generations melt together and be able to hang out in one particular place, one area, and everybody have a good time. We don't want to segregate anybody. We're targeting, the goal is to assist senior citizens, but we are targeting the family. We want the family structure to come back out. I want the Black father to go get his kids if they're not together, bring them out with the baby mama and her new boyfriend. I don't care. I want everybody out. I want the families out. I want to bring the family out and enjoy a festive outing with a purpose.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. And shout out to you. It's funny that you mentioned that because I think, man, it had to be like 2 days ago. I was actually thinking about my deceased grandparents and how just culturally we don't show the love and appreciation, give them their flowers as much as we should, right? And so kudos to you, man. I tip my hat off to you, sir, for that specific endeavor. And you know, I think that's amazing for sure. Mo?
This has been great. Rack, Will, it was great meeting you guys a few weeks ago. We will definitely be having a follow-up and there will be a more in-depth examination of some of the stuff we touched on today, I should say. And we appreciate y'all making the time to hop on with us, man, for sure.
Yeah, I just want to give, in closing, I just want to give a shout out to Rockstar. He's actually an aristocrat also in Dallas, but through Rockstar Zoom calls, that's how I got hooked up with the aristocrats. So I said, hey, I'm in Dallas. They said, come smoke with us. And that's how this whole thing got started, man.
Shout out to Rockstar.
Yes,
For the
indeed.
love of the leaf, man. That's what's up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He's Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guests, Eric Racklin and William Forbes of the Aristocrats. And we'll see y'all next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.